What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Love is Blind reaction / review with Nerdy Dating. Zakka here, your host, and we're going to try something different this time. The last episode took a little bit to get out, but this one we're going to try a little different. If not, we'll go back to the commentating on the episode. But thank you guys so much for watching this series. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about on Nerdy Dating, please put it in the comment section below, and I'll get to it on the latest episode of Nerdy Dating. But all right, we're going to go ahead and get this party started off, and we're watching Love is Blind episode 2 from season 9, titled Love Me When I'm Blind. All right, so here on Love is Blind, season 9, episode 2, we have here Anton and Allie doing the reveal. It looks fine. Don't say anything too crazy with it. I would say that Allie was looking back for the Love is Blind, the usual look back at each other, one last look in the glass, and she didn't get that. As she turned around to the last look that every season does, every person does, Anton was sitting there drinking some more beer or wine or whatever the case was doing. He was drinking something, and she just kind of looked there, like, what the heck? So let's notate that for the future. Up next, we have Madison and Joe. Madison is telling Joe about the fact that she can become blind, fully blind. She has a condition where she's losing sight over years, and explain that to Joe, and Joe has a look of processing on his face. So I want to talk about that real quick. I'm bringing the mic closest to my mouth, so hopefully this all get picked up and it's not like sound like I'm super far away. But she just dropped a huge thing onto Joe here, and about, her blindness that can happen. And Joe's sitting there processing. You can see him processing it through. But he does say something that stood out to me here. He said, if it was my wife, I'll be there to take care of her. And if that's her, be there with her. But he didn't really say that about Madigan, I can't think of her name right now, but he didn't say that about her. He just says my wife. So like in hypothetical, like hopefully any good partner should do, they should be there for their significant other if they are going through something like that. Like they should be there. They should be wanting to take care and help out. So like what he's saying is all the right things to say, because that's what somebody would like to hear. But he didn't really say like, I will be there for you hands down. He was just kind of like, for my wife, I would. But then he does follow up and say, no, this doesn't change the way I feel about you. But it just, what he said there is almost like one of those things that anybody was put in that position, if they're not a dick, they should say that. Like it's unfortunately, he says something that he should say. But that's his way. Like he did a good job of not interrupting her. He did a good job of listening to her. So there's some good signs there from him on that front, where he wasn't being, didn't push her off, didn't try to change the subject. He just sat in it with her, which is a good thing. But as far as that answer goes, it's something that unfortunately, any good person or somebody with a heart should say. It's not like a big indicator if they're going to last on that. So let's continue with going forward here. Up next, we have Nick, who's talking about the pickup lines he used on women. And one of the pickup lines he mentioned is one from a classic cartoon. Unless you was born in the 90s, you wouldn't know of it. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to you the way he said it. He goes, "Hey there, little mama. Are you a uninsured beachfront property? Because I'm a tidal wave of love." Then the producer or interviewer asked Nick, 1000%, has that ever worked? And you know what Nick says? Nope, not at all. Hold up, let's talk about that real quick. Let's dive in on that. He used Johnny Bravo. Now, if you grew up in the 90s, you know what Johnny Bravo is. And maybe somebody who grew up in the early 2000s, you might have seen episodes of Johnny Bravo in 2000 up to 2003, 2005. After that, Johnny Bravo was coming on Boomerang. He used a Johnny Bravo reference in 2025. Unless you're doing the monkey with me, I doubt that many women would know what Johnny Bravo is. If he gets lucky, but the one chance of that 1 in 50th woman he's talking to who knows who Johnny Bravo is, kudos to him. But that is straight trash. Don't ever use that. Don't ever do that. That's a horrible pickup line. Don't use pickup lines for one. Don't do that. Like if you're going to approach somebody, definitely go off the environment and what's going on. But don't ever use a pickup line from a cartoon that is at this point in time over 30 years old. Don't do that. That's a deep cut hellas. And because of the pickup lines that Nick uses and different kind of things he's using that's from the pickup artist world, a lot of women say they don't believe him. I want to talk about that because some women already pointed out some things here about this guy. They said that he's saying things that like sounds fake. Like you jumped to my number one right there. He said it twice on two different girls, and it's probably not the only one. He said 16 different women he's dating. He probably used that line on all 16 different women, and some went with him, some didn't. That's not good. That means he's just trying to find a partner on the show to get out the pods with, but not actually looking for a potential partner. If he's using the same pickup lines with the same women over and over again to see what hooks, that is 1,000%. What's it called? Not pickup artist style of dating, which is not genuine. It's not really good. Yes, you'll get it. You'll get if you're looking to hook up or looking for a one night stand or something casual. Yeah, you'll find a girl who'll be willing to do that with you, or you'll find a guy who'll be willing to do that with you. But it's so shallow that unless somebody really buys into it, it's not really a good thing, and people will look through it 90% of the time, which, as you see, most of these women are looking through his fake pickup artist tactics. Kate and Nick have a good back and forth, but Nick is using a lot of the same wording and terms and statements and moves he's using with the other women, but Kate doesn't know that, and she is 1,000% into this conversation with Nick. I do like the fact that Kate here is very honest about her past relationship and 8 years engagement, and after 3 months of her mom passing away, he cheated on her, and she mentioned the physical aspect of things and kind of missed some of the red flags, but she also said she craved touch, and that could be a red flag for her. So this is a slowdown for her, which is great. And Nick is definitely doing, like, he's being charming, which is a good thing. He's definitely being charming here, so props to that. But it sounds almost phoned in. Like he's saying the same thing that she wants to hear. Oh, me too. I feel good too. Good with you always, Kate. Like, it sounds really... He does this high-pitched thing with his voice that he doesn't do when he's talking normally. That I'm noticing here. Like, he doesn't sound 100% authentic here, and I think that is quite a thing to look out for, which she's not going to get that from behind the wall. That's something you're going to get in person. Like him looking down, him not really being focused, what it looks like. It just seems like he's doing the dating pickup artist speak. Like he studied pickup art before coming onto this show, which will work as it's working here in the pods. It is working, but it doesn't seem genuine, and a lot of women has pointed it out, but Kate hasn't seen it yet. Nick and Annie up next have a really good conversation where they break down some layers and talking about their future goals, and Nick kind of drops the facade for a little bit for Annie. All right, so this right here is good banter. This right here is very good banter. They're playing off of each other. She actually dropped her bottle of water, or her water, onto the carpet, and he's reacting to it. He's had the effect on people. Like, it's very good. And you can tell his voice is not that high-pitched voice he had with Kate. He's actually being more himself right here, speaking to Annie, talk about how he doesn't believe in traditional roles, that he needs somebody to be his rock. It's like, right here, he's letting his guard down. He's being more authentic here in this clip versus where he was with Kate, where he sounded more phony and faked in and phoned in. Here, he's actually reacting and being an actual, like, somebody you're going on a date with. Annie mentioned she dropped water while speaking to Nick about, sexy talk and things that turns her on. And the carpet got wet and Annie was joking about the wet carpet, and so was Nick. And at the end of the conversation, Nick made a joke that said, "What gets dry and wet at the same time? The carpet that Annie's sitting on." He started laughing, Annie started laughing, and yeah.
That was cheesy, but it worked because of the fact that it was already there. If he wasn't in that mind space with her, that would have been a very horrible joke that would have walked him out the door. It worked because she kind of led him down that pathway about, what she finds sexy. And it kind of got into that conversation because she knocked the water onto the carpet. So it worked in that moment. He's being more genuine right here. And then just the cheesy dad joke / pickup line. It didn't kill it for him because she was already there, but it was painful. Fellas, don't ruin a situation like that. He's already in the clear, but you have to be genuine. So give him props for being genuine, but be genuine. Don't be just trying to throw a joke in because you think you need to fill space. That was bad. That was actually trash. It was horrible.
Annie talks about the two men that she's really into. She's into Nick and she's into Brendan, and she discusses the things that she needs from each one of those guys.
All right, so Brandon is kind of already losing this to Nick right here. The guy want to bring it serious. He wants to hey, want to get to know somebody. Appreciate that. He's on Love is Blind. He looks like he might be really looking for a genuine partner. Versus Annie is looking for she ain't not even saying she's looking for a partner. She just says, I want to be married and engaged by the end of this week. That's what I need. So it's almost like she's looking for just that finish line and not looking for a partner. Brandon's looking for a partner. So he's like, let's get serious. Let's talk about a little more things versus just jokey. Versus Nick and her, they have this, I don't even call it chemistry, but they're definitely playing off of each other. And they're taking it more casual, which seems more fun, which is good when you're first dating somebody to be fun. But this process is such a rushed process. You do have to become serious at a certain point. And if you don't take that time to become serious, you might find yourself meeting somebody that you might not match well with because it was fun in the past. Y'all was talking to each other, bouncing off of each other, but y'all wasn't taking it serious. And then 3 weeks later, you're getting engaged and you're getting, or not 3 weeks later, but 3 weeks later, you're getting married and it's now serious. There's no play around time. So Brendan is trying to make it more serious. Nick kept it fun and goofy. And that's right here. I can see where her dynamic is going to be an issue with. Yeah, she might not have a conflict with Brendan, but he's too serious. He's not getting her thinking what life could be like outside the pods versus Nick kind of give her what life can be like outside the pods. When it comes to the fun stuff, they haven't shown talk about the seriousness stuff yet, but the fun stuff, they're like, oh, this is going to be a fun time. Versus Brendan's like, yeah, he seemed more like husband material. I actually called him, where's my husband at? Because the dude's taking it serious. You got to be a little bit. You got to be serious and a little serious and a little fun at the same time. You got to do both. You just can't be always serious and never have fun. You're not showing the person what life can be like when it comes to have fun, but you also can be always goofy and fun because when stuff hit the fan, are you going to be that rock for that person? All right, let's get back to it.
Calibria is talking about, the guys she's been dating in the pods, and she said she don't really want an alpha man, but she needs somebody to be alpha for her. And she mentioned a guy who says he is not an alpha man, but he'll be alpha if he needs her to be alpha.
She should have took that and ran with that. When he said, I am not an alpha man, she should have been like, thank you for your time. Have a good one. I don't know. One, I guess you don't want to be with a guy who says he's an alpha man because most likely he's not. If you meet a guy who says he's an alpha man, he's not an alpha man. An alpha guy doesn't need to tell you that he's an alpha man, but at the same time, an alpha man wouldn't say he's not an alpha man if he was asked about it. He'd probably like, I think I am, or it would either be it'd be a humble way of putting that comment. He wouldn't say, I think I am. He'd be like, I hear you. I'll be there for you. Something like that along the lines where he doesn't feel like he has to boast about it. But that's if you're the type of person looking for an alpha, because I think that's a horrible way to put people into categories like that, because you can be disappointed when he's like, well, he's an alpha. Yeah, he does non-alpha things. But you're looking for that. When somebody tells you they're not one, get openly, you probably shouldn't go for that. Because most likely they're telling the truth. And most likely they're telling the truth.
Calibria and Edmund talk about their past relationships and talk about the happiness and other toxic traits that come with certain relationships. Calibria talks about how she used to put so much into her past relationship that if they weren't happy, she wasn't happy. And she said that was a toxic thing. And she asked Edmund that if it sounded like he was at peace. He said, or it sounded like he was at peace. And Edmund kind of just like agreed with it. She kind of put words in his mouth versus letting Edmund actually speak.
One, good for her for understanding that's a toxic trait of putting your what's the word, happiness or your acceptance or value onto somebody else. If they're not happy, if they don't feel great, then you're not gonna feel great. That's good that she recognized that, because that's a very toxic trait. Lead down a rabbit hole. Cause if you don't make a person happy or make that person feel like they're the best in the world, and you feel like you're failing at that, you're never gonna find yourself being happy in yourself. So getting value from yourself first, before you can help out somebody else, is the best way to go. But then she asks him, like, look, you're at peace. Like, just assume that he's at peace. And he goes, totally. Like, that's not really an answer. And then, like, what made you find peace? He got to dive into it, but, like, she's answering for him or putting words in his mouth that he didn't say anything to yet. He just following her lead here for somebody who wants an alpha male. It's not a good back and forth conversation. It's more of like, I'm telling this, leading the conversation. He was like, yeah, I'm picking it up. I'm going to go with you on this journey.
They talk about forgiveness of their parents. They talk about how it is to not hold grudges. And Calibria talks about how she held grudges, not grudges, but grudges towards her father, and that she commends Edmund for being able to forgive his mom for the things that his mom put him through.
Plain and simple, just more trauma dump from these two. They're hitting on very serious topics. I think Calabria is using this is a therapy session for her too. It's really is for him as well, but it's a therapy session for her. Her acknowledging that, like, her father's not in her life, and that's a tough thing, and the acceptance of it. Like, she trying to fight it and pretend that it doesn't bother her, which she mentions, but it does. And it's the acceptance of it. And this is probably her one moment to really get to talk it out. And the reason why they consider each other best friends, because they are trauma bonding, and they're kind of releasing that therapy on each other, and therefore making them connecting more, for better or for worse. So you gotta be careful of that when you're dating somebody. If you're just trauma dumping every single time y'all talk about something. Now, granted, they're not showing all 10 days of the pods with these two here, but you're just, anytime you talk to somebody, you're trauma dumping on each other. You gotta be careful of that, because it might not be the best relationship to be in when you're trauma dumping on somebody and they're trauma dumping on you, and you're bonding over trauma. What else are you on bond over? Like, what about the fun time? What about communication? What about conflict? What about how you handle conflict resolution? Other things like, yeah, okay, the trauma bonding show that you both can listen and show that both can be empathetic to one another, but it doesn't really show what will happen when you get put in a situation with this person that might not work out best for both of y'all, or one person might turn the other cheek and go south, and the other one's like, I'm ready to stand and fight. How that conflict happens? How do y'all discuss that? Politics. There's other things. Chilling on a weekend. How do you like to chill on a weekend? They're not talking about those things. Now, granted, once again, they could have had those conversations already in the pods, but the show's not showing us those conversations right now. So I only get to go off of what we see here.
So Megan is talking to 3 different men, and each different man have a different thing for her that she's seeing what's going on here, and she's having a good back and forth conversation with all 3 men, which is Jordan, Blake, and Derek, I forgot his other name. The other guy's name is Mike. Mike is the other one.
So Megan is really good at conversations. She can communicate well with all three types of guys who are all three different styles of life and like how they live their lives. All three different, from Mike to Blake to Jordan. Megan could connect to all of them on each one of their levels, which is very good. She's a people person, very energetic, very an extrovert. That works well when getting to know people. She's getting to know them. But the one thing I know is about these guys that not really one of them didn't really make a move on her. They kind of all reacted to her from the clips they showed. Jordan was like, he's getting good banter back and forth, which wasn't meant earlier, like when it came to Annie and Nick. The goofiness, the funniness, the lightheartedness shows really well, and Jordan goes like, she thinks I'm funny. Like, and that's a little good back and forth versus Mike is like, oh, I have a bed, or I have a couch, a big couch, then it's really comfortable, but it's kind of like a bed. He's trying to shift the conversation to more of the bedroom environment, and they talk about the bed and whatnot, but then he's like, she said, I love that. He's like, oh, you're in love with me. He's trying to move it, but he's letting her play ball more than him being the aggressor or pursuer, not the aggressor. Aggressor's the wrong word. It sounds really bad. But pursuer. And then Blake is kind of like chilling as well. And they're kind of playing off of her. Now, the difference between Jordan and Mike that Blake is doing, and really it sparkled Megan guiding the conversation that area, what the future looks like. I'm going to a wedding in the summer. Do you want to come with me? Would you be my plus one? She is guiding them to like, hey, we're going to go here. Would you be a part of that? So that's that vision of what the future can look like. That's something that you want. It's a good sign when it comes to dating, that somebody wants you in their circle. But also don't latch onto that, because it's good to like idealize what somebody could be with you, but their actions also have to match that. So they can say one thing, but is the action matching that one thing they're saying? And Megan has three options right now. Blake is kind of like chilling. He think he's in the bank here, in the bag at this point, but he's not pursuing her as well. And I think all three of them, if somebody would pursue her harder, she probably would actually be more willing to go with that person. So we'll see how that looks like here in a moment. But all right, moving on.
So Blake at a good back and forth. Blake asked Anna, have you ever ghosted someone? And Anna said, yes, she has ghosted someone in the sense of we've been talking, or maybe we've gone on one date and then our text just started slowly feeling boring, and like the last one to respond and never responded back. So that's what her definition of ghosting is. But she does say if she's not truly feeling it, she will ask the person, do you want to be friends, or are you down to be friends? And Blake agrees.
Definitely think the ghosting question is a very good question, because it shows how somebody can take conflict, but also take knowing what they want and what they realize what they want, and being upfront and honest, and how they face conflict. Do they run away from it? Because telling somebody that you don't want to see them again, telling somebody that it doesn't work for you, or it's not a good match, is scary. It takes courage, and it is conflict. And how you approach that situation, saying, especially after a date, and talking back and forth and letting it fade, instead of just letting it fade out like, oh, well, it's not going to work out, saying like, hey, send a text, a call. At this day and age, one date, a text is fine. If it's 5 dates, you probably should call that person and say, I don't think this is going to work well. I'm not feeling the spark, wherever the case would be, or say, hey, I enjoy talking to you, but I'm not ready to date right now, or I'm not ready. That's a lie. You don't really want to lie, because they get back on the app, they see you again. But I'm not looking for anything serious, or whatever your excuse is. They really don't need to know all the details about that. You're letting them down gently, or try to let them down gently, or to say, hey, it's been fun talking to you. I just don't feel the match is probably the best way to go about it. And how they react, text or call, but they throw a fit, then that's on them, not on you. But definitely letting somebody know up front, because it shows that, one, you're not afraid of conflict. You can have a tough conversation with somebody and be able to communicate that well without starting a fight or argument, it's a really good sign. So I think asking that question is a really good question. And if they like, well, after a few texts, I just let it go or just fade away, probably be like, maybe you're not a good communicator. Maybe you don't know how to handle conflict, or maybe you're not somebody who, when it comes to conflict or something's wrong, do you have to pull it out of them, or do you have to like sit and say like, hey, let me know when you're ready to talk? But they're a ghoster. They're gonna do things that show like push you away. That's somebody who will fade away. Is like they might push you away. They're ghosting versus just be upfront like, hey, I don't think it's worthy. Now, when it's time to ghost on a dating app, if you're just if you've not met this person, you've not met that person in person, it's okay on a dating app. Just like let it go away. If you realize the conversation's not going anywhere, it's okay. Versus hounding somebody like, hey, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? You realize like they're not putting back into that bucket, and you got 4 straight messages of you and none of them. That's all right. That's fine. Dating apps. But when you meet somebody in person, go on that first date, it's probably say, hey, I had a fun time. Didn't see it going anywhere. That's fine. Perfectly fine.
Patrick asked Casey about attraction and the importance of it. And Casey thinks attraction is very important. But she also mentioned how her stepfather says, good luck finding somebody who pretty much is attracted to you as much as I am attracted to your mom, in a sense, which is very messed up. But that's what that scene is about.
Hold up. Go ahead and mess with her stepdad tomorrow. Good luck out there. You're not going to find somebody. Attraction, real quick. There's physical attraction, mental attraction, and sexual attraction. That's a thing that I believe, and I said on this show multiple times, there's 3 types of attractions. You can be physically attracted to somebody, but not sexually attracted to them, or emotionally attracted to them. You can be emotionally attracted to somebody, but not physically attracted to them, or sexually attracted to them. And you can be sexually attracted to somebody, but not emotionally attracted to them, or physically attracted to them. There's 3 types of attractions, and I think it's all like in a pie chart here. And each section can have a little more for each person. It have a little more than others. Like it's not all, what I'm thinking of. The math here. Oh, I'm drawing blank. I didn't think there would be math today. Not 37. 37 is the wrong number. Thank you. If y'all heard a voice, that's my girlfriend in the corner. But yes, 33.33. Thank you. I just drew a blank on that big time. But yes, I was told it wasn't going to be math today. My bad, guys. But yes, 33.33. It's not like a straight, God, it's nerdy dating. That is exactly what that was. Such a nerd. Anyway, it's not exactly even cut in 3 slices like that. So for her to be like, do you believe attraction is important before we start dating? Attraction is always important. Attraction is always important. You would not talk to somebody if you didn't find them attractive. Even if they're behind a wall, you would not have talked to them if you don't think that personality is attractive. Love is Blind is based off of emotional attraction, and hopefully the physical and sexual kicks in. Generally, these people haven't had sex in 2 weeks. Let's just say that at most, at least I should say 2 weeks. So when they see the other person, if they go on to the honeymoon, they see the other person, yes, they'd be ready to hook up because they haven't had sex in 2 weeks. At least. I'm not sure. Some people might be in longer than that. But then with the emotional connection, you get meeting with somebody, you're having this emotional masturbation, I'm going to say it, where you like thinking like what this could be like, and you're getting this ideal up there. But attraction, you can be emotionally attracted to somebody, not physically attracted to them. But attraction all around is important regardless. So she should say physical attraction is important, because that would change and make it sound more like, okay, I see what you're talking about versus emotional attraction.
Patrick and Casey have a good back and forth playing game. Patrick's really into Casey, but then it came down to the question of ethnicity and race, and Casey kind of just like forces Patrick to say, which Patrick doesn't want to tell his race. He's afraid that it will ruin the experiment and people won't like him for him, and he's really hesitant about it.
The reason why he is hesitant to tell people that he's Asian, because he doesn't want to get judged based off his ethnicity. I listened to a podcast with with Patrick on it after the show, and he mentioned how maybe is on a podcast or somewhere later, but he mentioned how Asian men are considered less attractive. There's a study that's out there on YouTube. I forget who did it. It's years old at this point, like over, I think I saw when I was in college over 10 years ago, where they talked about what people consider the most attractive race, both men and women. And for men, Asian was considered the very end of that spectrum. It was like black, white, Hispanic, Asian, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. There was one more I'm missing. Hispanic, Asian. I'm missing one more race. Maybe indigenous. There's one more I'm missing. It was 5 of them. And Asian men were considered the least attractive. As a matter of fact, I might just look it up right now. All right, so I found the video. It's a video from Jubilee that happened. They redone the video and brought like live people in, but before it was just the guys. It was Asian, black, white, Hispanic, and it looks like the other guy is gay or LGBTQ. I'm not watching all this, to be honest. To me, I think it's a very subjective video, and it's based off the women that was on there who graded the guys. But yeah, but the study and there's other studies out there that show like Asian men are the least attractive, sadly. And then as far as like women, black women are considered least attractive, and I think white male and white women both were considered the most attractive based off of that study. I remember looking at it as a male and well, I still am a guy, but looking at it from a young male's perspective when I was in college, thinking like, oh man, like I don't really have a shot. I think it was like white men, Hispanic, black. I think the gay guy was like between us, and then Asian was the very last one. And I just remember thinking like, dang, I got to work twice as hard. Or black men are considered a fetish or something like that. But anyway, back to Patrick and Casey here. Yeah, it makes sense why he's hesitant, because he's getting judged immediately by off the race. Now she has an idea of what she thinks he looked like, and she's already discounting him on everything else. If he was a white guy, she probably wouldn't have an issue with that. I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but I wonder if he is black or Hispanic, would she have the same reaction that she does when he say he was Asian? And he's been told, like, throughout his life, he's been getting knocked for his race, and that Asian men are not really considered attractive, which is very messed up and horrible. So that's why and the fact that she's pressing him on this should have been a sign for him to be like, maybe she's not the kind of person I think she is. She don't seem to be all accepting. And the fact that he's hesitant on telling his race, for better or for worse, should have been a sign for her that maybe like he's not what I think he is. So, all right, keep it going.
But then Casey talked about how she met her former boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend on TikTok, and then went to Instagram and started dating him from that. And Patrick kind of judges her for it.
The fact that he's judging her off of hitting somebody's DM, sliding somebody's DM on TikTok, and find their Instagram and slide a DM on Instagram, and then start to date them. One, so they wasn't in your city, and he added you on Facebook or on Instagram and TikTok. Of course he's sliding to other, like, if he's meeting women on TikTok and Instagram. Let's talk about Casey here real quick, because she mentions in the first episode about how her last boyfriend was following a bunch of women on Instagram that weren't her, that didn't look like her, but yet that's how he met her. He met her through Instagram or through TikTok. She slid in his DM because she added him. If he's, I don't know, decently famous or semi, wherever the case may be, in his area where people are following him and looking for his stuff and looking for his content and sliding into his DM, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised the guy who you met on social media is also the guy getting other women to follow him, and he's following them back. It's mind baffling. And he's not in the same city from you. Same city. He doesn't live in the same city. So therefore, you're already setting yourself up for a long distance relationship with a guy who's getting women matching with him already. Unless you're ready for that kind of world, don't put yourself in there. Guy or girl too. If guy slides to a girl's DM who is famous, is getting a lot of dudes following her, and or semi-famous or whatever case, be getting a lot of people following her social media platform, and a lot of people are following her, he has to be aware that guys who don't even look like him are going to follow her, and she might follow them back, and be okay with that, and not be self-conscious of how can you look like that guy. She's a famous one, a semi-famous one, social media, wherever the case would be. You don't just follow a social media person who's posting on TikTok and then go find their Instagram and follow them on Instagram. He sees an attractive woman who likes his stuff, he's going to follow her back. Like, that's human. Crazy. But then Patrick over here kind of judging her for her last boyfriend meeting on social media is wild. Like, it's 2025, bro. Like, 2025. That's people meeting on social media, on TikTok and Instagram. They're not just meeting on dating apps. There are people going other ways to meet somebody. When I was on the dating apps, there's a lot of women who put on their social media profile and they were like, not really talking on here. Follow me on social media and slide into my DMs. My sister used to post her Instagram on her dating app because she's like, I get too many likes on Tinder. So if a guy's really serious, he will slide in my DMs on Instagram, and then that's where we'll pick up the conversation. So the dude's acting blind, no pun intended, to the fact that people date on social media. Mind baffling. All right, back to it.
Anna and Patrick had a good back and forth, and they're really feeling each other. Anna's kind of has some reservation about being in the pods. Patrick thinks Anna and him might not be as compatible as far as what their interests are, but Anna actually think they really will be compatible, and they're really feeling each other right here in this moment.
So Anna is like thinking about leaving right now. She's thinking about getting out of this place. She misses her family. And Patrick is kind of bringing her back to it. Like, he's saying, yo, this is kind of crazy. We are doing something that our families wouldn't agree with and not be like proud that we might be doing this, but we should go for it. And they kind of like, one, I thought it was really weird that Anna is saying like, we wouldn't be attracted to one another, which is very interesting that she says that. And Patrick's like, I think we're opposites, but personality-wise, not race and ethnicity. I said that really wrong. Why I say ethnicity? I'm saying it wrong again. But anyway, I'm gonna keep running with it. As far as race goes, we're the same, but we are opposite personality-wise. He doesn't vibe with her personality, but they're having really good back and forth, really good banter right here, and maybe in person they could really go well with each other. He should have said, would you want to be my girlfriend right here? I think he would have done that. It would probably kept Anna from feeling as sad as she is, because she's like conflicted right now. And I think if he would have done that, tell, hey, would you be my girlfriend, it would have shot her up and above. Now, granted, it would shut off everybody else he's talking to, but it would have shot her above and probably had her more in this experiment. But all right, let's keep it moving.
Joe finally asks Madison, will he marry her, and propose to Madison. Madison says yes. And as the show is about to end, Anna has a kind of a bit of a breakdown, and she's crying and not really sure about it all. Patrick's excited though. He's excited to talk to Anna again, and looking forward to the next conversation. And the show ends with Anna kind of ghosting Patrick, and Patrick looking distraught.
All right, guys. So that last, about the back half there, Joe proposed to Madison, said pretty much some good things about, how he wants to be there for her. He wants to invite her to his family and hang out and all the things. So it's good, a good proposal. Leaving Patrick here with Anna saying she's not like, feeling like a lie here, but learning about herself and feel comfortable, but how she wouldn't give certain people a chance. And then just kind of ghost Patrick there at the end, which is funny because she mentioned how she wouldn't ghost somebody earlier in this episode, and yet she's here right now ghosting Patrick at the end of the episode. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's it for this episode of Nerdy Dating Love is Blind episode 2, or Love is Blind Nerdy Dating reaction. That's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching the show. I appreciate y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please tell friends and family of the show, especially if you like Love is Blind and want to hear some perspective and breakdowns of people who don't have any skin in the game, who's not trying to, sell you guys anything, just give you honest, genuine thoughts, pieces about what the real world looks like as far as Love is Blind go. I get it. This is all, in a microcosm and not 100% accurate to the real world because things play out over time versus this is all rushed in the pods. But if you want a more breakdown of it, thank you guys for watching. Keep watching the other episodes. They will come out every Wednesday will be episode they drop. And also every 2 weeks. So next week will be a classic episode of Nerdy Dating. So we're going back to TikTok reactions and Reddit reads. And then the week after that will be another Love is Blind episode. And then we'll go back to TikTok and Reddit. So every other week you'll get a Love is Blind reaction episode. But thank you guys for watching this series. I appreciate y'all. See you on the next episode and keep being awesome. Thank you for watching this episode of Nerdy Dating. I really appreciate it. If there's another episode you want to watch, you can look at it right there. If you want to subscribe to the page and watch more content, it's down here. Also, you have a question about dating you want to put in the comment section, go ahead and do it. Or you can send me your dating question to my email of alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. That's alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. And I will answer your question on the next episode of Nerdy Dating. Thank you so much for watching the show. I appreciate you and keep being awesome.